What is going on, traders? We're going to make this quick. Like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. Now, in my last video, I was pretty bullish heading into today. I said historically, the market tends to run into these type of events, whether it's FOMC, CPI, things of that nature. And it looks like that's exactly what happened. We ran all the way up to the event, and it looks like we can continue going. I am bullish heading into tomorrow. Okay, but one thing I want you guys to note is that historically, after these events as well, we do get a significant sell-off. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen tomorrow or anything like that, but it is something to keep in mind. It can happen Friday, it can happen next week. I don't know, but we'll get more into that in a bit. So, if we're looking at the SPY right now, as you guys can see, we have us a double bottom here. We broke the neckline at around 518.5, and we have us a bullish engulfing candle. So things look really good for the SPY heading into tomorrow. Now, there is two scenarios that I'm going to paint out for you guys, and I'm going to let you guys know what I'm going to do with one of these scenarios. So the first scenario is tomorrow morning we see maybe some type of retest of 518, 517.5, and then we head higher. So that's the first scenario where we retest the top of that neckline and then we continue to go higher. The next scenario that I'm looking at is that we just gap up, which seems like the likely scenario here because ES and everything else just still rising after hours, where we just simply gap up and then we hit the top of this range at around 528, 530 before we see some type of potential sell off there. If that happens, if the second scenario happens, let's get rid of this real quick. If this happens, I'm going to let you guys know now. I'm going to be transparent. This is not a financial advice or anything like that. This is what I plan on doing. I'm going to YOLO puts. Okay. I'm 100% going to YOLO puts at that point. And here's the reason why. 1 4 hour time frame, we're very overbought here on the SPY. Okay. Even if we're looking at the daily, very overbought. Okay. So that is something to keep in mind. We're very overbought on both those time frames. Every time we hit the top of this range, every time we hit the top of this range and we are overbought, we get some type of sell off. So as you guys can see here, overbought, sold off. Overbought, hit the top of the range, sold off. Overbought, sold off, so on and so forth. So hopefully you get the idea. So if this does happen, if the second scenario does happen where we gap up tomorrow and we hit the top of this range, I'm YOLOing puts at that point. Another thing to note is that more often than not, and I do understand there are gaps to the downside, but the SPY does try its best to fill gaps right away. So if we do just so happen to gap up, I do expect the SPY to try to fill that gap almost right away. Okay, so those are my confirmations right there. Another confirmation. We look at unusual wells. It looks weird. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys that much. You guys like when I go over unusual wells. Um, I mean, I can't say much here. There's not much to say. There is a lot of puts coming in, a lot of puts, nothing but red. Okay. And I went over this last video. Even yesterday, a lot of puts are coming into the market. So something's coming. Okay. Something seems to be coming. So again, like I said, historically, this all goes back to what I said at the beginning of the video. Historically, after these events, we do get some type of sell off. And from the looks of things, it looks like it can be very significant. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Another thing to note is that we do have like 3 Fed members speaking on Friday. So this makes complete sense. And I believe Jerome Powell is speaking Friday as well. Don't quote me on that. Feel free to look that up yourself. But that makes sense. Okay. And if we do continue to run up all the way into Friday, I do imagine that if anything, we see some profit taking. Okay. So I know that was a lot, but keep those things in mind or try your best to. Okay. We're overbought. We hit the top of this range. I'm YOLOing puts. Simple as that. Okay. Looking at the triple Qs, if I can get to it. Here we go. So looking at the triple Qs, last video I said if we break above 440, then we're heading higher. As you guys can see, we got a bullish engulfing candle on the 4 hour time frame. Our 4 hour RSI is crossing over, so things look really good. What I will say is that the triple Qs isn't overbought. on the 4 hour or daily. So this could be the reason why the SPY goes higher. We just carry the SPY much higher at that point. At the top of this range is around 455. So 455, 456, give or take, is where this is. After hours, triple Qs is at like 446. So it looks like we could be looking at a gap up scenario heading into tomorrow. Okay, so keep this on your radar. Once we break past 450, you're pretty much looking at price discovery mode. So 455, 460, so on and so forth. Okay, so keep that in mind. But again, like I said on the SPY, anytime you hit the top of this range and you're overbought, you sell off. You gap down, so on and so forth. So something to keep in mind there. Okay. But that's what I'm looking at as far as the triple Qs. You break back below 440, then you're potentially looking at, I would say 439. You're potentially looking at a move towards 436. And after that, you're looking at a move towards 433. 433 is your key level. Okay. We continue to fight at that level. We break that, then there's going to be panic across the market, I imagine. So those are your key levels to look out for as far as the triple Qs. NQ, I went over this last video. You break above 18,400, you stop these guys out. It looks like we're heading towards 18,700 from here. You stop these guys out next, then I wouldn't be surprised we head all the way as far as 19,000 at that point. So keep NQ on your radar. ES. ES, last video said there's an ascending triangle. We break out of this ascending triangle, and it looks like we're going to head higher. I do have a price target of ES at 53.50, so and it looks like we're trying to head there now. So be on the lookout for that. This all goes back to what I said about the SPY that we could be looking at a retest. So when we break out of these type of patterns, descending triangle, at some point we do need to retest these patterns. So if we're looking to retest the top of this ascending triangle, we could be looking at a move down to 52.50, 52.40, give or take, before we head higher. So if that scenario does play out, then that's the move that I will be looking at as far as the ES. But for now, still bullish heading into tomorrow, retest or not. So keep this on your radar as well, or keep those levels on your radar as well. Russell. So I said I wasn't interested in the Russell until it breaks above 206, and that's exactly what happened. Okay. I was going to get calls on the Russell, but then, I promise, immediately when I was about to get calls on this thing, this huge put order came in 195 puts for May, and the premium is insane. 23 million premium, 16 million premium on both these positions. So something to keep in mind as well if you're looking to trade the market between tomorrow and Friday. Okay. Now the expiration is far out, so that is something to keep in mind. But again, I would be careful. Okay. So I decided to actually follow big money on this play, and we did 195 puts on May 17th. 'Cause I've been bullish. I mean, I've been bearish on this thing for so long, so might as well follow big money on it. Okay. So that's my thoughts as far as the ETFs and futures. Let's look at some stocks or some plays that we are currently in. So I'm in Starbucks 90. We're in Starbucks 195 calls. We're also in IWM 188 puts for March 28th. And then AMD, we took profit on this, as you guys can see. We did 170 puts for this week, took profit on it. Was a risky play, and it ended up playing out. Still holding Amazon, still in it. We'll most likely, if the market does continue higher, then chances are we got to take an L on this play, which is like our first loss this week. So not a big deal at all. Apple's doing really good. We jumped into Apple 187.5 calls for April 19th, and Apple just is climbing. Okay. We got in at around 175, so really, really good play here. Okay, and that's all our plays for now. Starbucks, we got in at around 92, and currently is like at one. I mean, not one, but 92.6 after hours. So this play is looking really good. Price target on this is 96 if you plan on telling or if you want to tell it. But yeah, so those are our plays so far as today, and it looks like we're only going to take like one loss so far this week. So pretty good week. I mean, rarely lose. Like I said in the last video, we barely lose. If you want access to the Discord, link is in the description below. All right. Um, let's go over Apple real quick. So last video I was pretty bullish on Apple. Still pretty bullish on it. I do expect a move towards 182, and then after that, pretty much 185. We break above 185, then things can look really good for Apple. Okay, at that point, you're going to 190, 195, so on and so forth. So Apple still looks really good. And if the market continues to climb tomorrow, then yeah, this thing is just going to go on a rampage. Nvidia, plain and simple, guys. I think this thing is going to see 1,000 in the near future, maybe tomorrow or Friday. I mean, that's pretty much it. Plain and simple. 950, if it breaks above 975, you're heading straight to 1,000. Simple as that. Okay. And that's pretty much all I want to go over. Tesla, I told someone in the Discord that if Tesla breaks above 175, then it's going to 180. I still think that's going to happen. So be on the lookout for Tesla. Um, if the market continues to go higher, then obviously chances are Tesla is going to follow at this point because it seems like it's starting to follow now. So 180 is my next target. I'm not extremely bullish on Tesla until it breaks above 194 once again. So keep that in mind. Other than that, that's really all I got for you guys. I'm not going to get too much into anything because I have to go. So hopefully you guys got something out this video. Discord link is in the description below. We do stocks, Forex, crypto, all that fun stuff. And comment your thoughts below, whether you agree or disagree. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one, traders.